Right, this is Street Talk with Dav and Rouge and Mike.
Hi.
We're having tea. We're very chill, back on the sofa. We were going to be in Dav's house today, but we've had to change the day. Mikey's got parents' evening.
Tomorrow, yeah.
Tomorrow we find out how he's doing in his coursework. Actually, your report has been bloody good.
I tell slam dunk.
Slam dunk.
Yes. Good for you, hombre. Of course he's going to do well.
Of course.
He's doing very well, so can't complain. So Dav has brought us some delicious custard tarts, no?
Thank you very much.
Toast, tenemos straws, cup of tea, Star Wars mug. And here we are.
Well,
We've got a lot to say. Oh, Clara, I can't look at my thing, but you remember what Monica Gold said. So we've got to thank everybody because a lot of people have written in and stopped us in the street to discuss the Gibraltarians for a Multicultural Society, our last YouTube video, which was very good. We've had nearly 150 views. We'd like more views. We need more people to spread the word so we can have more hits and more people to... No, Mikey?
Yeah,
you told all your friends about it.
I have. I've put it on my story multiple times. Well,
Okay.
yeah, like quite a few times.
Yeah, Mikey's our social media manager, by the way.
yeah.
I'm giving him pocket money to do the socials. So he did a reel. We did a reel. We now have a Street Talk Instagram
page.
post, and we'd like you to just follow it.
Tell your friends about it.
Yeah, and tell your friends. So today we're just chilling here. We've got a few things to discuss. First, thanks to Monica Gold, who wrote in saying that local history is taught in schools, and they do teach about the northern defences, no? And
no, what she referred to was that she said that just because it wasn't taught before doesn't mean it's taught now, and that was never said. What I said is that there should be more. When I was in school, we did the evacuation.
yeah.
I did an interview with my neighbor who she gave birth during a raid.
Yeah.
So we did do it, but I think there should be more. There should be more. There should be trips to the northern defenses. Que se le explique toda la cosa.
How much? I mean, you're the one that studied most recently. What do they teach? Well, compared to Dav and I.
Oh, well, last time I did history was like in year 9, and we only covered like in major events in Gibbs history, like the evacuation. We also did when the Arabs were in town in the 1700s, and about the sieges.
Okay.
But apart from that, we didn't talk about the northern defense. We talked about World War II in general, generally.
Did you walk around Jib to see?
No, the only trip we've done for Gibb history was to the museum. But that was like when I was in primary school.
Por ejemplo, the fact that a lot of Irish town, because the Richard Richard Garcia did about Irish town.
Yeah.
Ese architecture que tenemos de este hombre italiano, toda esa cosa.
Interesting, like anecdotes, about different.
And then as well, for example, an idea, los documentaries que hemos visto en el cine. Porque los niños van, no sé, I'm saying, los niños van, porque eso es súper importante de ver how it affected our families. I remember being told by my mom that ella fue una vez a la frontera, ¿vale? Y mi abuela estaba en el otro lado.
That must have been really hard for your mom.
Exactly. And
do you remember her telling you about that? Like, cuando yo
era chica, no.
Sí.
No, me lo dijo
Por
de
ejemplo,
mayor.
cerraron la frontera. ¿Tú cuándo naciste?
Yo nací en 1980. Mira,
the frontier was shut.
Cerraron la frontera, and 2 months later mi madre se casó. And she married on her own. Estaba mi padre, mi tío. Claro.
Con que ella se quedó aquí porque estaba saliendo con tu padre.
Ahí está, bueno, ellos ya estaban casados por la policía.
Okay.
Please, can somebody explain to me what that means?
No, that means casado por la policía. Probably means civilly.
Sí, that's what it means.
Like
pero
civil
¿por qué
marriage?
por la policía? ¿Qué se hacía en la policía?
In those days, lo que pasaba era que tú te casabas por la policía y después you were entitled to something.
Sí, pero that's not the point. The point is why la policía. ¿Qué se hacía en el police station?
I see what
That's
you mean.
what I want somebody to tell me. I know why they did it. They did it for tax reasons y para housing y cosas así. Eso se sabe.
Understand what's going on here.
I was not alive.
No, of course you weren't alive. But in those days, many years ago, people used to get married. They still lived apart, but they would get married in inverted commas civilly in the civil, because you marry in church or not. But what
Por ejemplo, when you
counts
get married in church, or nowadays, ya automáticamente it's also like a registry type wedding. ¿Vale?
Okay.
You
Y
need
si
a
no,
registry.
you get married in a registry type, which is what I did. I didn't
Yeah.
get married in a church.
Yeah.
Entonces, before, in order to be able to get on the housing and aprovecharte del married couple tax,
Yeah.
people used to casarse por la policía, then they would still continue to live as a boyfriend and girlfriend, y después te casaban por la
Because you were
iglesia.
entitled to a bunch of things if you married civilly.
That's right.
So you used to do that before to get like a discount if you bought a house or
Whatever
it was in those
Whatever it
days.
was.
And they used to say "Ta casado por la policía,"
Policía.
but that's what Dav says because she's not sure
Yeah.
why.
Does it mean that people got married?
Yeah.
Maybe the
Bueno,
registry,
maybe somebody can
maybe
tell
the
us.
registrar was
Yeah.
in the police station, pero toda la vida eso.
Or maybe someone can tell us.
If-
I
got
tell,
any-
no,
if you got
somebody
any-
will tell us. Entonces, my parents were already married por la policía, and then they got married. Suerte que my mom already had her wedding dress. ¿Vale? Y se casaron. My uncle, mi tío Pepe, walked her up the aisle, and she said later on de mayor, she told me that was a very, very sad day.
I'm sure.
No tenía a nadie. All she had was a telegram from her parents saying felicidades de tu padre, and that's it. Entonces, I think that is another thing that needs to be shown to the youth of Gibraltar so that they have a better understanding de lo que ocurrió.
There is,
Y
yeah.
por qué las personas se sienten así. Y por qué hay que tener un poquito más de interés en lo que es ser llanito. Because it's not just about being bilingual o multilingual y que tenemos calentita y que... No, hay más.
Stephen Cumming has done an amazing film. An amazing film. I can't, I'll have to look up what it's called, but I went to see it, and I think everybody should watch
I
it.
don't think I've seen that one. I've seen two.
There was one about the
Gates.
frontier,
What's it
wasn't
called about the gates?
Ta La Roca.
Okay, I can't get the phone, but
I took my mom to see that.
there? I can look
Y
it
mi
up.
madre se dio...
look it up.
Mi madre se dio una pecha de llorar viéndolo. And
Stephen Cumming.
And she was also annoyed that they hadn't called her para hablar. Que yo hubiera hablado
Well, I think
también.
they put something out that they were looking
but
for
we
people.
didn't see it.
Well, which reminds me something that I did want to talk about today. So the Uvalal Academia de Valladolid have been here doing a study on bilingualism.
I saw
So
it.
there was a whole advert in the Chronicle that said they are looking for people to come. I sent them an email and I said I'd really like to take part in the
Yo no
study.
lo vi, si no lo hubiera ido.
When I did, and I was super impressed. I went to the John Mackintosh Hall, and I met Tamara and Sonia. Hello to Tamara and Sonia because they're going to be watching this. They're very interested in what we do and the fact que lo hacemos llanito. And I explained that we'd had Manuel and Dale last week. They were really excited because they'd been talking to them. Anyway, the study was incredibly fun to do. You can't find it as a Gibraltarian. So first of all, I got pictures. Say, for example, a picture of a girl under a tree with a basket full of apples under an apple tree.
Okay.
And then you have to decide whether you like the phrase that comes out after. So the phrase is in llanito, but it's not. It's their version, and you have to say whether it sounds right or not.
Ah, okay.
Yeah? So then you have to say it's either mal, bastante mal, bastante bien, or excelente.
Okay.
You have 4 choices. So the phrase would be the girl está under the tree con una cesta de manzanas.
En la vida decimos
En la vida decimos.
vida.
Of course, I would say
vida.
bastante mal. They wouldn't understand why it was bastante mal. And I said, porque jamás vamos a decir una cesta. Después things like...
¿Qué se quedaban como...?
No. They asked me a few, because a few I put muy mal. And they were things which, for example, el doguito está under the tree.
¿Eso con perro?
Claro, we would never say el doguito.
¿Pero quién dice eso?
Exacto, pero they don't know, como que
Claro.
they're asking questions. So it was like, el doguito está
No.
under the tree. Y yo puse
papi.
like bastante mal.
El papi.
El papi, the dog, or el perrito. Yo le dije que the diminutives, we would call it in the Spanish form, not the English form. So we wouldn't say the catito, or the, or the, I don't know, or the fishito. The fish is swimming in the sea, and then the whole thing with el and la. So, for example, in Jib we say el wife. Todo el mundo dice el wife.
El wife.
El wife, ¿no? It's a
Claro.
contradiction. It should be la wife.
Bueno, eso como la gente que dicen...
Entonces,
La arroz blanca. Oh, de un pet hate para mí.
yeah.
La arroz Amarillo. No puedo.
Yeah.
No puedo.
Bueno, the whole thing was based on that. So you had sequences of
yeah,
pictures.
we should go
No,
now.
well, no, they're coming again in February. I've just been sent an email today. They're coming again. And then they had other things. And they had like phrases, and you had to read the phrase and see whether. And most of it was not stuff we would say. Ahora, funnily enough, because it made me think, I was doing it on instinct, 100% on instinct, right? So I did it in 20 minutes. This is the second part, because I went for one session, which was about half an hour, and then another session in the evening, which took me 20 minutes. Normally it takes longer.
Pero ¿qué pasa? Que si te pones a pensarlo, entonces no lo estás haciendo bien.
Pues
Tiene
por
que
eso
ser en el momento.
lo estaba haciendo en el momento. Y al final me preguntaron, ¿por qué ha puesto esto? ¿Por qué ha puesto lo otro? Digo, porque es que no me suena bien.
¿Es así?
No me suena bien. Ahora, los phrases todo en inglés y todo en español me sonaban mejor, but they weren't grammatically correct. This is to catch you out a little bit. So I would still put bastante mal, even though it was all in English. But sometimes all in English, I would put excelente. Porque the cat sits happily under the tree. That is very well said. But there was another phrase like the happily cat sits under the tree.
Oh.
Exactly. So they would do things like that. So the first one would come out at the beginning, and then after 10 minutes, the happily cat would sit under the tree. Maybe they're trying to catch you out to see, I don't know. It was all, Ada, while I'm doing all this, I have a black dot stuck on my forehead.
Why?
Well, this is part of the study, because they do it with eye recognition, eye tracking.
Oh, really?
So there's a machine right here, which they basically put to point at your eyes.
I've seen, yeah.
And they are tracking
To see which side of
what your brain
you're using.
exactly, or what your brain is doing. So there's one with a right eye, one with a left eye. So you have to more or less keep a bit still.
Oh,
But as soon as you read, ya veo, I'm really bad at that as well. As soon as things come out, estaban como mirando un ojo o el otro ojo. Y después de dot aquí, que era la más de raro, un dot negro. Y estaban todo el tiempo calibrating 1, 2, 3. Mira, I loved it. Me fui in the pouring rain a las 7 de la noche. Mikey can tell you, last Tuesday or Wednesday, and I loved it. I was there for half an hour.
¿A dónde lo hicieron?
In the John McIntosh Hall. They hired one of the rooms, and they did it there. And they told me that there was about 10 to 15 people that they had who were doing both sessions, and it's fitting everybody in while they were there. But they were there from 9 in the morning until 9 at night.
Qué interesante.
Really interesting. And what
That's
they
so
want to
cool.
know is why and how our brain works.
Well, that refers back to what they said last week. Manuel.
Yeah, Manuel.
De que it's scientifically proven that los brains the bilinguals and multilinguals work very differently.
Yeah.
We access more
Yeah.
of the brain.
Yeah.
So it makes sense. It makes sense.
The other thing is that a lot of people now, like you, for example, wouldn't be able to have like a conversation in Llanito.
You can more or less.
See, some words.
See, but at some point you would go...
But mostly in English. Ahora, you apply for a job in Gibraltar, and in your CV, we would write that you are bilingual. No?
Yeah.
Would you say you are bilingual?
For the most part.
You're not bilingual.
Can you have a conversation in Spanish? Mira,
He
una
can
cosa...
make do.
Mira, una cosa que yo... I flipé when I realized. I used to work having to deal with Spanish companies over the phone. Y ellos llamaban aquí y se ponían, hello, yes, I would like to speak, no sé qué. And eventually I would go, can I speak to Davinia, please? ¿No? Y yo le decía, sí, soy yo, ¿qué pasa? And they would go, yes, I am calling because rah, rah, rah. Y yo, okay, pero ¿qué es lo que te hace falta? They cannot do the switch like we do. And eventually se ponía, hablas español. Y como llevo 15 minutos diciéndote, ¿qué pasa?
Ya, a mí me pasa también con el tiempo.
They cannot do the switch.
Yeah.
It's very, very interesting. Nosotros automáticamente tenemos esa cosa when we go, boom.
Yeah.
It's something that we take for granted, pero it's a big deal.
It is a big deal. And the thing is that we need to give the importance now to the kids of your generation and younger, really. Because it's huge. It's a huge asset for you to be able to
The amount of money that people pay to do something that we do.
I mean, it's helped me with jobs when I lived in England. It helped me get jobs like that, being able to speak.
Y viajar.
Sí.
You know how easy it is for you to travel and know that you have 2 languages
And
a tu
3, 'cause we've
disposición.
got- Dad speaks fluent Italian.
To
so
save your
I can
ass.
sort of speak Italian.
Yeah.
more or less.
You speak Italian like me.
Yeah.
0. Like we
I
discovered.
got a 6 for Italian GCSE.
You did.
Don't slack.
You got an A for Spanish. How? What do you
Es
mean?
verdad, eso no
Spanish.
cuenta.
How? You
Tiene
got
que
an
estar
A
on the
star?
spot.
What did you
Ahí.
get for Spanish? A star.
I got a 7, so which is an A, yeah.
Bueno, I also want to say thanks to Geraldine Rodriguez, who agreed with us.
Is that the lady who said que no le importaba dónde estaban los micrófonos, que no molestaban?
Oh, somebody said that. No sé si fue ella.
I was speaking to a lady and she was very nice y dijo que no pasa nada, que los micrófonos estaban bien. Yo te lo dije, people don't care.
People don't care. No, I because it was loads of people have said to me about the microphones actually because I thought they were sticking out.
No.
Today they're tidily here, but actually the sound was very good.
I was very
We have to
pleased.
thank Charlie. Charlie did an amazing job putting it together.
Anda que
I haven't
nosotros-
given him any credit.
Anda
so
que
well done,
nosotros para
Charlie.
mandarle los vídeos a Charlie.
Poor Charlie. Have you worked out how to do it now? And well done to Mikey for doing the reels on socials. So
I've never
all that.
spoken to Charlie and she gave me Charlie's number and I was like, to cortar yo, hi Charlie, I don't know what I'm doing. Y el pobre, it's okay, métete aquí. Y yo como,
He was
"Thank
good,
you."
no? He guided you through.
Sí, it
That's
was
good.
fantastic,
Yeah.
pero en el momento I was like, yo no sé lo que estoy
No, I
haciendo.
know. But we got there.
Sí.
We got it sent. So a badge for us.
And it's on YouTube right now.
And it's on YouTube right now, as this will be. Hi to Rebecca Calderon and Jackie Anderson, huge fans of ours. They love what we do.
I saw Rebecca on Saturday.
And we've got to invite Rebecca to chat with us one day because she loves it. And she loves the whole idea that we're on YouTube and she can watch us. She says it's much more fun. Actually, some people have stopped me and said it is more fun to be able to see you. So that's what we wanted to do, to
Sí.
give it another angle.
I think it depends también en la persona, ¿no? Por ejemplo, yo no tengo tiempo para sentarme y verlo. Pero sí tengo tiempo para ir por la calle con
Escuchándolo.
headphones.
Sí,
So I
bueno,
suppose
so
it
you
depends
can do-
on your time and so...
Yeah, but it's exactly the same. What's coming out on the YouTube channel is
It's
what's
on
coming
Spot-
out on the
on
pod.
Spotify.
No, it's
exactly the same.
No, it's okay.
And also Nicole Banda. We had a whole discussion
the
with
one.
Nicole Banda
That's the one.
on Facebook.
Nicole fue la que dijo
Yeah,
lo de los
she was really-
microphones.
she was really good.
It was nice.
Yeah,
Well,
she
mira,
enjoyed it.
Rebecca, I saw her because on Saturday I had a very Janito day.
I want to hear all about it.
Vale, Saturday lunch, fui al book launch.
I'm going to have my toast while you tell
el
me.
poetry book de Jonathan Teuma, who is known as El Janito in Madrid, donde él hace poetry slams, ¿vale? Super cool.
Is he living in Madrid?
Sí, vive allí con su pareja. And he does poetry perísima y es español, en inglés y en llanito. ¿Vale? And he's got all sorts of things and they're really, really good. He's really witty. He's got a really good stage persona. Es fantástico. Y fuimos because he's published this book. Y el libro se llama Slam Bambaluba, Slam Bamboo. ¿Vale? I think. Y fuimos y me lo pasé bomba. Me estuve riendo todo el tiempo. And then he actually habló de... Yo no sabía
Where
que...
did he do the recital?
Lo hizo en el Calpe Rowing Club. Con drinkies and papa. Estaba todo súper bien. Un solecito que no vea. ¿Vale?
On Saturday, ¿no?
Saturday at 1:30. Y tuvimos ya hasta las 3 y pico, las 4. And there was even a competition where we had to vote for the best poem. Nos hartamos reír. It's fantastic. And the book is also illustrated by Kieran, me parece que Peralta, I think. So it's also got these illustrations that tie Lorraine. Y está súper, súper bien.
Where can we get the book?
Actually, I'll find out. I'll find out.
We'll
Pero
buy one.
Yeah.
you can message Andrew el hermano, Jonathan Teuma directly. And
Actually, he stopped me to tell me that he really enjoys listening to
no,
our-
he should come.
Well, is he here?
He was here this weekend. Ya no sé si
Oh,
habrá ido
we'll
tanto,
invite him on.
because he teaches in Madrid as well. So,
Well, we'll
pero
invite
he is coming back because he's doing something in La Línea, so we could catch
Oh.
him then.
Yeah.
And it was
Let's
really good
message
porque
I'll message him.
me dice, no, porque yo no sabía, me dice, tú fuiste un inspiration para un poema. Y era un poema de cuando tuvimos el anniversary de lo de la frontera. Salió algo y yo le dije, tú tienes que hacer algo de hecho. And he did. And it's such a good poem. It's really, really, really
Oh,
good.
we've got to buy the
It's
book.
really good, de verdad. I highly recommend it, eh?
Mira, just one thing. Message
Yeah.
Tommy and ask him what the name of Stephen Cummings' film is called.
All right.
Send him a WhatsApp.
Bueno,
He will
pues
know.
entonces, after having my Janito poetry afternoon, después
Yeah.
por la noche fui a ver Taxi.
I saw some pictures on Facebook and some video. Everybody was raving about it.
Everybody was...
How was Dylan's voice? Was he amazing?
Still
amazing.
Still
and the musicians, Danny and
Still good. Y Jetstream
and
super bien.
Jetstream as well. They
Super bien.
What a good night, ¿no? What a good night.
What a good night. Y ¿cómo terminó?
¿Cómo terminó?
Terminó con DJ Wayne haciendo un 90s disco donde a todo el mundo se le fue la pinza. Qué pesada, de verdad. It was such good fun. It was...
Yes, like old-time fun when we used to go to celebrities in Ocean Village and nobody cared.
Y no había...
And you knew all the songs and after hours used to perform those nights.
En plan, no había pintureo ni postureo.
Yeah.
We were all about the same age. We all needed a good night out.
Yeah.
And it was really funny because the people were saying that the measures de los drinks, yo no tomo spirits, yo bebo cerveza y eso, pero los measures de los drinks apparently were really big.
What was this, on the Sanborn?
Sí, y empezó temprano a las 7:30 o algo así, con que mira, by the time que terminó Taxi a las 11, people were mal. Fui al toilet y cuando vine para atrás le dije a mi marido, digo, no vea cómo está todo el mundo. And I was like, it's too early to be like this.
Yeah.
And then the DJ started.
Oh, yeah.
Yo terminé de rodilla en el suelo.
Mikey would have loved 90s disco.
Some of my friends got in.
Oh, I don't know whether we should say this. Go on, say it. Say it.
Sure?
Yeah.
Well, I won't disclose who it was, but they got in.
How did they do it?
They got in by asking people who were leaving for the wristbands.
And
they did by doing that. Some of them got in.
They don't have fake ID, no? Because that's another thing. You don't have fake ID, no?
I do not. I don't know where I'd get one.
And if he did...
No, yesterday...
If I did it, I would tell you.
What did you say to me yesterday and I caught you out rápido?
Oh, something about clothes. I put jeans in my cupboard where they weren't supposed to be.
Oh, yeah, and you told me that the cleaner had done it. And I said, en la vida, I put el cleaner, unos jeans in the wardrobe, this way.
Amateur.
Le digo, you lying to me? Me dice, yes, toda la bella cara,
Pues escúchame.
He's with that face.
There was a guy who was there, who had already been there the night before, y el weekend que viene va otra vez.
And next weekend it's happening again.
Sí, and
I'm going to see if I can get tickets.
Well, mira.
And we're going to go. Because I really want to see them.
You have to be over 18.
I don't think
so. Oh, really?
Sure? Really?
No, there were children there. There were children there. Sí, hombre, cuando terminó.
Mikey, you're 17 on Wednesday.
Oh, yeah.
Había niños de la edad de mis hijos. Sí, hombre,
Okay.
for the Taxi, pero después cuando empezó el disco, eso ya fue otra cosa.
I'm going to tell you about my Saturday, shall I?
Venga.
Do it.
I went to a Wim Hof Method experience, which was my Christmas present from Ricky, which I really wanted to do because it ends in getting into a bath full of ice. Yeah, I do cold water swimming because having reached menopausal age, I find that the cold water really calms me down. I suffer a bit from anxiety. So I find that the sea really does have its benefits anyway. I thought this can't be much worse. So the whole day was all about the Wim Hof Method. I don't know if you've heard about this guy, Wim Hof. We learnt a bit about him. He had a tragedy happen to him in his life. And he was like, oh, now what do I do? And he found that the cold and living in the cold, doing things in the cold really helped him. And then he started experimenting with different things in the cold, having cold baths, and he realized that he built a resistance and a resilience to life, to traumas, to things. And he started teaching about it. And loads of people have done experiments on him. And they've realized that actually he is a special, it's a special mindset. So it's a mindset.
There's a lot of literature on this.
There is.
Yo lo he leído. Some people who say que no.
Yeah.
Vale, pero sí, I read about it and I saw a documentary about a woman. Eso ya era un poquito heavy. Esta muchacha had been sexually assaulted like very, very badly. Y she would actually go, no como un ice bath. Esto era un boquete en el ice, in a lake somewhere. And she would go under, and then she would swim under the ice. Y ahí ya yo era en plan como...
Without equipment?
Nothing. Con uno...
You see, you have to...
Yo no. A mí me
you have to respect.
So a mí me entra un panic y yo no puedo encontrar el boquete. No.
You have to go with an open mind. We did we heard a lot about mindset and how different mindsets and different perceptions of things change the way your mood. So, for example, you can get up one day and think, right, today is going to be a shit of a day.
And it's going to be a shit
of a day. But if you wake up and think, okay, it is going to be a bit of a shitty day and I have a meeting and I don't really want to go, but I'm going to see who I meet. I'm going to see, maybe the sun is shining. Maybe I can appreciate a nice walk on the way to work. So you go with a different mindset. You go with a different perception. And that will help you. So it's things like that is what you're learning.
The mind is very powerful.
The mind is very powerful. The mind is very powerful. So then,
es flipante. People believe they are getting better.
And it just,
a sweet.
So then, after the whole mindset talk, we learned about breathing and how your breathing can calm you down. Now, I know that from therapy and things like that when you do your, in for 6, out for 10, in for 6, or in for 7, out for 11, whatever. After 3 or 4 breaths like that, it's already sending a message to your brain to get the cortisol levels right down. And it works. I know, we both have been to therapy. We both know what that's like. But this was like a whole hour, 11 rounds. I didn't even think it was 11 rounds of this breathing, where you breathe in. So doing that for 30 or 40 breaths, then you breathe out and you hold your breath. Now, I thought I was holding my breath for 40 seconds, 50 seconds. The last time, in the last round, I actually managed to hold my breath for 3 minutes. In fact, 2 minutes 50.
Sheesh.
I would never, ever have been able to do it consciously. No. You just breathe in, breathe out, and do these breaths. And you do it on reps. You do it 30 breaths, and then she says, the coach says, right now, breathe in, breathe out, and when you breathe out, hold your breath. And you hold your breath, and she says, now, take a deep breath.
Do you not involuntarily?
I don't know how it works, Dav, but I'm telling you that I managed to hold my breath for 2 minutes 50, or nearly 3 minutes. You don't feel like you're holding your breath. And then you take a breath, hold it for 10 seconds, and let it go. And then you start the rhythm again. And it's like a rhythmic breathing that you do. And you do it for 11 rounds. And you end up, everybody had a different reaction. I felt really, 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 really cold, which is very normal. Apparently, lots of people felt very cold. It was quite cold, but I felt very cold. It's like all the traumas, all the hurts, all the negativity is all coming out, and it manifests itself in different ways. Okay, so some of the people that I was with actually were crying all the way through.
Karen cried.
This guy who came with me, I'm not going to mention his name. He cried all the way through. He's had a lot of trauma. He cried and he felt very shivery. He was actually shaking. He felt like his whole body was shaking, whereas the coach was with him and said you weren't shaking at all. Yet he felt he was shaking. Anyway, everybody had, I don't want to give too much away either. I found it a very surreal experience, a very deep experience. And I felt very safe. I felt very peaceful. And this is how I felt ever since. I felt very peaceful, very emotional since. It's like there's still stuff coming out. But you gear up basically to the cold. And then you have to have cold exposure. So the 3 pillars of the Wim Hof Method are mindset, breath work, and exposure to the cold. And so there's this bath, and it's full of ice. And I was like, yeah, I can't wait to get in. I was so excited about getting in. Everybody got in quite gently. You're 100 miles an hour, really wanting to get in. I got in. I'm not exactly light, and all the ice flew out of the bath. I got in with one guy, with my friend. We both got in, and all the ice flew out. And I was like a bit embarrassed, thinking that's because I'm really heavy and I've overflowed all the water. Because everybody else was like quite pitimini, and there was I like. Anyway, me metí como lo toro. I didn't expect the reaction that I was going to have. The cold didn't bother me at all. But I got a bit of a pain in the back of my neck, which I was told later is trauma coming out. And it just affected me. Anyway, I got out of the water. And then the coach said, look, we need to really work on you because this is trauma that needs to get out, and we're going to do it together. And I want you to release all the stress you have inside. It's really interesting. So we did it again when everybody had a go, and everybody reacted differently. Some people were very emotional about it. Some people cried. Other people didn't feel very much. Everybody has a different experience, but it's something I think that everybody should have a go at some point in their life. Anyway, Carolina, our fantastic coach, who I'm going to do a podcast with because I think she's fascinating. She said, let's get in here again. I want you to really release all this stress out. So we did. I got in again on my own, and I spent 1.5 minutes in the ice, breathing with this lady, holding hands, looking in her eyes. We were doing the breathing together. It was just pure peace. I can't explain it. No me dolía nada. No me sentía nada. El corazón lo tenía tranquilo. That was my worry. My worry was my heart.
Agua fría duele.
Yes, and you can have a heart attack because they tell you sometimes that the shock to the body can at all. When I got out, she said, there we are. And how's your head? I said, the pain is gone. And the pain went.
Era como un poquito brain freeze.
No sé, a lo mejor, no sé.
Because
the second time round, it worked much better. I think I just went in at 100 miles an hour, como tú dices. But it was an experience that I would absolutely recommend to everyone, Dav. Karen Jacobson, who I've interviewed in my podcast as well, she's at, I don't know, she's contactable. If anybody wants to know more, let me know. It's something I've always wanted to do. I've always wanted to get into an ice bath because I see so many sports people doing it.
Yeah.
And actually what I might do is I think Mikey and Ricky should go together. There was a father and son duo there, and they got a lot from it together. They bonded a lot doing it. Yeah, you have to be over 16 though. But they
17 on Wednesday.
I know, but they bonded a lot, and I thought it would be nice for you and Dad to do. I think you'd enjoy it. And it I don't know, it's just grounding. It's like grounding a little bit. It's just like resetting, yeah. But that's what I did, and then I came back, and I've been in a little bit of a daze ever since. But it's quite nice. It's quite a nice daze.
Yeah, I think it's the release. It's like therapy.
Yeah, it is. It's like you said before, que you get it all out y te harta de llorar y después te deja como así un poco en a trance.
La luna, y también pasa con el hecho the cutting of the cords, el pranic healing. That's
well, I've been talking to Tina. I did a thing with Tina about pranic healing. Tina Galliano, my friend. You met Tina?
No, sé quién es, pero
yes,
no.
She does pranic healing, and we did a podcast about it.
I've been many times to pranic healing.
Have you? And you think it works, no?
I think so, and it's really cool. I don't understand it.
You know they do it remotely, so you don't have to be with the person.
That's right. Pero a mí me gusta ahí. They do it all the time, eh? They do it in the temple, and it's really, really good. Y te da una pesada llorar.
Sí, pero te saca todo.
And it's really funny because the one thing that I'm always told when I do the pranic healing is that I have a cord. With the pranic healing, you have all these cords tying you to different situations, people, and all that. And all these cords obviously are very draining on you y cosas así. Una vez me dijeron que tenía un spiritual knife en la espalda.
God.
Because somebody was jealous. ¿Vale?
Of you?
Yeah. Pero the one that fascinates me because I don't understand y siempre me sale lo mismo is that I have a cord in my throat because there's something that I'm not saying.
Oh, well,
pienso en mi cabeza, si no me callo y digo todo, que no digo todo, mentira, pero me rayo because it's not that I can turn around and say, pues mira, es verdad, there's something that I've never said or that I can't say. No. There are things that I don't say because I don't want to hurt someone or because it's not my place o lo que sea, pero algo así como un secreto. Pero it always comes up and I don't always go with the same person, eh?
Oh, really?
I don't always go with the same person, so it's very funny that different people will turn around and say, you have a really big cord in your throat. There's something you're not saying.
How interesting.
It's super interesante.
How do you... Oh, that's interesting. Do you know all about all these things?
No.
No, you
Not
see,
really.
these are things that people your age, especially teenagers, should know about.
And you about the Wim Hof thing.
Yeah, the Wim Hof thing, but the
Alternative
healing, alternative
practices
therapies
are really good.
There's a lot of young people your age who need it, who are going through stuff. Yeah, and they're not open about it. You tell me many times, Mum, so and so is having real trouble because of this and that. You tell me, because a lot of your friends tell you their problems.
Yeah. Yeah.
They see you as that type of friend, no?
I like to think so.
Well, good.
You have that thing about you.
Yeah, but that's really good, though.
The latest thing I've done is NLP.
Yes.
And tapping.
You do
I am the expert here.
Vale, and
it's fixing me. I wouldn't be able to.
But I had without going into detail, when I went, I had a physical reaction.
Yeah.
I had a physical reaction. Mi cuerpo literalmente hizo un. And he was like, wow.
Yeah.
Y no en el momento, sino
later.
Like an hour later.
Yeah.
I had a physical reaction y era en plan como, okay.
Yeah, EFT or NFT? Emotional...
NLP.
Oh,
Neuro-linguistic.
Yes, but it's also called EFT.
Y después está el tapping. El tapping es un tripeo.
I do it all the time.
Yeah.
Un tripeo.
You do all the time.
I do. But it really helps me
Que holistic también, ¿no?
But I think it's really good to speak about it because
holistic today.
Do you know what it is? There's more and more alternate therapy so that people don't take antidepressants. Sometimes you need antidepressants.
I take them.
My daughter who's studying psychology says to me, she always says to me, Mum, there is no two ways about it. It's a chemical imbalance in your system and you need them. But
if a diabetic has to take insulin, why shouldn't I take these pills?
Yes.
Aparte de que yo también I am in a situation where I don't want to take them. I hate taking them, but al mismo tiempo yo pienso that I have a responsibility to myself because I have a family.
Yes.
And I have to be okay for them.
Yes.
So that is my main motivation. Y por eso hago el pranic, el therapy, el NLP,
everything.
Todo, lo que sea. And that's one thing that I had. Last year I had to have an assessment by the occupational therapist, que era médico, porque tuve un bajón. Last year,
I remember. I think I remember.
Tuve un bajón y entonces tuve off y me mandaron al médico. And I thought, fine, me da igual. So when I spoke to the doctor, I said, I do this and this and this and this and this. And it was such a relief and so satisfying to get the doctor to say to me, I don't think you need anything. I think you do everything that you can. The only thing that you need is good support at work. Porque claro, te están diciendo, porque tú, y tú esto, y tú lo otro. And it was like, no, yo hago lo que puedo. Pero tú tienes que poner de tu parte, and that's one thing that there's another big issue in Gibraltar is the duty of care at work, por ejemplo, ¿no?
At every job.
Every job you have a duty to ensure that your staff are okay, porque el trabajo is a big factor of stress in your life, and then also that we're not robots, we're people. There might be something in the background, and just as long as they're doing the work no pasa nada, no, porque algún día va a llegar un punto como me pasó a mí, que tuve ese momento donde dije no puedo más. It was not work related at all, but it took me away from work. Y frankly speaking, I did not have the support that I needed. I had to do the work myself, y para eso soy muy pesada. Yo me parto la cara. Me harto de llorar y todo lo que tú quieras, pero yo me parto la cara y me levanto otra vez y voy otra vez.
Yeah.
¿Vale? Pero everybody doesn't have that.
No.
Everybody doesn't have the support system I have. Or motivation.
And a lot of employers are not particularly bothered about what their employees are doing as long as the work is being done.
And that's...
I mean, the big companies, I find that the big companies do look after their staff. For example, where my husband works, they really do look after their staff. It's a fantastic place to work. And they have every now and again, I mean, maybe once every 6 weeks, Dad goes on a course to learn about, getting this out of work or that out of work, or maybe the pranic healing. Somebody comes and talks about it, and the HR team organize for all these things, and everybody. There's 200 people who work there.
Who does that for? Karen.
Yes,
Karen
she does that.
To
and I know somebody else called Kirsten who does that as well.
Importante.
Yeah. But of course, these things cost money, and these companies maybe can't afford it. The smaller companies maybe can't.
Está bien, pero this is an investment. It's an investment in your people, and then your people respond.
Yes. I agree. Investment in people is everything.
Y entonces you get these people que dicen, Oye, cobran una porquería, pero mira cómo están trabajando. Porque están contentos y son los primeros, como si hubieran dado la vuelta during COVID, hubieran dicho, pues venga, no pasa nada, vamos, no me pagues por 3 meses, we'll do what we can, pero yo voy a estar aquí contigo. That's what makes a difference.
Yep.
¿Entiendes? Pero bueno.
Yeah.
Hoy estamos muy heavy.
Estamos heavy.
Muy heavy.
Hoy.
Let's talk about something else.
What should we talk about?
Tengo feedback de mi amiga Lechi she found out about the origin of the word Chomino.
Ah, I know it. Show me now. Yes, I knew it. Show me now. Tell Mikey doesn't know. Do you know what Chomino means? It's a bit like what you think it means.
I think
yes.
I can get it.
You know what Chomino is?
Yeah.
I certainly hope so. Anyway. Entonces, Chomino is...
We don't call it that
The
here.
lady bits.
Yeah.
Y entonces,
that's what I thought.
Chomino is it comes from when the sailors used to come to Gibraltar. Y entonces the ladies of the night used to go to the port. And before me parece que era before the boats had docked or whatever, los sailors se ponían a chillar, show me now. Y ahí salió Chomino.
Good, eh?
I thought it was brilliant.
I knew the story.
I didn't. Fantástico.
Show me now.
Fantástico, me encanta. Me encanta.
Yeah.
Qué pesado. More of those, please.
We're not. It's not really. We don't really call it that. But anyway, we're not gonna go into what we call it and what we don't.
Yeah.
Well, we could, but we're not going to. What else did you want to talk about? You had something else.
Era eso.
I want to mention something a bit silly. Cars, right? Cars. So I work in New Harbours and I go to work every day. Usually I walk. Sometimes I cycled. You know, they nicked my bike.
Yes.
My bike has been lost forever, I've been told. So I had to buy a new bike. I bought a new bike, similar to the one I have. But today I walked. Now, if I drove for whatever reason, because maybe it was bucketing with rain and I had to drive, I now can't park the car anywhere in New Harbours. If I do, I'm only allowed to park it for 1 hour. And within an hour, I have to move it to another parking. Which means that if I work for 5 hours, every hour I have to go and move the car.
Yeah.
Every hour. Now, surely, if people are allowed to buy more cars and more cars and more cars, but the parking for the public is less and less and less and less, where are we meant to put those cars? It doesn't make any sense.
No.
So I was thinking about it today. I walked to work, but there was somebody, when I got there, complaining that they'd been clamped because from today, they've changed the rules in New Harbours.
Okay.
Normally, you could park the car and leave it for 2 hours, which is fine. You arrive at 10 to 9, so you know that by 10 to 11, you can move it, but it gives you enough time to do enough work. If you're in a meeting and the meeting's taking more than an hour, you then have to think, oh God, now I need to leave to go move the car. So there are different areas to park, because you can park at the top where Covidan is, or you can park below. But you have to move it from the space that you're in. So you could even, for example, move it back one space.
Sí.
And that'll be all right for another hour. Then move it forward.
Me encanta.
Isn't that ridiculous?
It's the same.
It's the same.
It's the same.
So why can't you just leave it there for a couple of... Well, no. And it really annoyed me because I thought, what are they trying to do? Are they trying to get more money so that they can clamp more people so that they can make more money? What are they trying to do with that?
No sé cuál es el motivation.
I find it...
We've always said that there should be a tax for additional cars.
Of course there should.
Ya ve cuánta gente seguirían cogiéndose coche,
Yes.
más coche, más coche.
I think it's ridiculous when I know of a family where there's 3 kids and each of the children have a car, each of the children have a bike, and the parents have 2 cars themselves. So they have 5 cars. There's a family of 3, 4, 5 people, and they have 5 cars, 5 motorbikes. Now they have a big house. So 3 of the cars fit in the driveway to the house. And the motorbikes, they stuff anywhere. But the other 2 cars, they have to rent a parking because they can't park on the road. So they have to rent nearby and they pay all this money. But why do they all have so many cars? And they all live in the same house.
Sí, pero la diferencia es que they are happy to pay
Yes.
for the parking.
Yes.
Pero yo te estoy hablando de quien sea de la calle, ¿no?
Yeah.
Que no puede.
No.
So,
Yeah.
ahora, si puede comprarte un coche, pues puede pagarte un parking, ¿no? También.
I don't understand. The whole New Harbours thing has really annoyed me and really bothered me because sometimes I do have to use a car. If I have to take my mum anywhere and then I want to rush back to work not to miss whatever, I use the car and I can't park it now. Well, I can and have to move it every hour, and it just anyway rant over. It just annoyed me, and I wrote it down because I thought don't let people have so many cars, but then. I don't know. The car dealers have to make a penny.
The one thing
suppose.
that's been going on for ages, which is driving me nuts, el tema de la bicicleta, ¿vale? Why are people taking it so a pecho? No, porque yo vivo en Upper Town y... Está bien, nadie está diciendo que no puede usar coche.
This new travel thing of Paul Balban has brought out.
Sí, but in general, before he brought it out, in general, this whole thing about promoting the use of bicycles. And you get the same people saying, hay que ver, porque cómo voy a llevar yo mi shopping hasta el Pinto Pino, o yo soy mayor, o yo... Hombre, there are exceptions to the rule. Of course, if you're an elderly person, or disabled, or... Claro que va a usar coche, pero lo que estamos hablando es de el coche para alguien que vive en Haberviews y lleva el coche al supermarket que está al lado.
Yeah.
Venga allá. O conduzco desde Haberviews y aparco en Midtown. Eso es el problema.
Oh, there's a bus service to the Moorish Castle area, isn't there? People can get to...
Sí, pero that's not the point, because al final del día, como te digo, si tú eres una persona que te cuesta trabajo, a lo mejor el bus también te va a costar trabajo. Te digo, mismamente, the argument to that is, habrá un bus que va a New Harbours, ¿no?
Sí.
Con que estamos la
There is a
misma.
bus that
Estamos
goes
la
to New
misma.
Harbours.
The point is de que nadie, this is not a blanket ban on cars.
No.
It's more of an
Mindset.
adjustment.
It's a mindset.
Todo es un
change
mindset. Todo.
the way you
pero
do
los llanitos
stuff.
don't like
For example,
change.
do you know what I think people should do in gym much more than they do? Well, I don't think they do. Is car share.
Yeah.
I've said it a million
Car
times.
share.
I've
Talk
said
to
it a
your
million
neighbour and
times.
say, right,
Claro.
3 of us have kids in the school and we have to drive to the school, to Bayside, Westside, whatever.
Carpool,
Let's
yeah.
carpool. Everybody get in one car.
Mira, mi vecina de enfrente y yo, we work in the same place. We walk porque we can y no pasa nada. Pero vamos a decir que we needed to take transport. We could go together. Pero aquí no. Aquí es una persona.
And do you go together?
No, because we walk. So we
Yeah.
go separately. Ella va a una hora y yo voy a otra. Pero que we could.
Yeah.
We could go together in a vehicle should the need arise or whatever. Entonces, no, aquí todo el mundo a lo suyo y porque me da la gana and because I can. Porque es lo que estaba diciendo antes. Yo porque tengo que hacerlo, no es porque tiene. Could you? Not you should. Could you? Have you thought about it? Obviously no. Tú que vives arriba en el Quinto Pino y tienes las piernas es una porquería. No. Obviously use your car. Pero si tú eres una persona que puede, pues piénsatelo 2 veces. Porque mira, la vista está, when we had the COVID situation, lo bien que se estaba en Jeep. The bay was cleaner.
Yeah.
Animals started to
I'm
come
going to tell you
back.
something talking about that. But anyway, go on.
Well-
You're right there.
But we've got an update on the Stephen Cummings thing.
what's it?
It's called Times of Closure.
Times of closure.
Ah, sí, yo lo vi. Lo vi.
Thank you.
Those are the
yeah.
two, La Roca y
Times of closure.
Yeah.
Honestly, I recommend to everybody see it. Times of closure. They put it on in the cinema here,
Sí.
and sometimes at the little Queen Cinema, they do special showings, and I think you pay a little more. But honestly, it's really worth. I mean, Stephen has done an amazing job with that film, and as a Gibraltarian, I think it's like our right. We should really, really watch it.
No,
because
and we should also really go on about it.
yes,
Porque-
I loved it. I loved
porque
it.
es importante.
I thought it was. I really felt part of that whole thing. Heritage, you know, it's like part of my what people went through and all the suffering of families who were separated.
I never finished.
And all the rest, and how we lost. We were like, well, what are we going to do now? And then that's when our identity came in, and we thought, right, we're not going to let Spain, you know, bother us. We're going to stand up for ourselves, and we did.
Yeah.
And we became.
No, and we still do.
Yes.
And we still
Yes.
do. Que tú dices,
And
get to the rest of the world.
and
It
that's
must be
why
comical.
that's why the other day on City Pulse, Kevin again brought up the subject of what do you think is going to happen with the treaty? What do you think is going to happen? And I said we're going to have to give something big up, and I'm sure we are. We're going to have to give to get. I'm sure, but at the end of the day, whatever we're dealt with, we will deal with like we've dealt with everything else in our history. we'll get off our backsides and get on with it. For sure.
Why?
For sure. Something has to give.
But it's not going to be big.
Something is going to happen.
It's not going to be big.
Of course it is.
No.
Of course it is.
I don't
Something is going to happen because we can't carry on as we are.
Entonces, ¿por qué no ha pasado ya?
Because they're still negotiating.
They're not negotiating.
Of course they are.
No.
Yes. They're negotiating and we still haven't been told, and they are expecting not a great outcome, I think. And I don't think...
On whose part?
I don't know.
On whose part is not the great outcome?
For us. For Gibraltar, I don't think it's going to be the greatest outcome, but I think it's going to be an outcome that we're going to have to deal with as we've dealt with other things before, and we're going to have to give up something. Yes, this is what I think.
Y odio el oppression. Y hombre, sí, no voy a decir que estamos oppressed como otros países.
No.
Pero we are.
We are.
Symbolically we are oppressed.
We are.
Y eso es lo que me da coraje y eso es lo que no me da la gana.
I know.
Why?
I agree with you there.
Why does nobody else? Esto es lo que pasa, que como funciona la política es de que las verdades no se dicen, pero ¿por qué no hay otros países que se dan la vuelta y le dicen, ¿en serio todavía estáis con esto? How the general population thinks from what I think. Vamos a seguir igual.
No.
En un stalemate.
No.
Yo creo que sí.
Yo no.
Yo creo que sí.
We differ in opinion.
Shocking.
We've been agreeing with a lot. We've also been talking for nearly an hour, so I think we should bugger off.
No importa.
Yeah, we'll have to...
What do you people think?
Yeah, tell us.
Hoy estamos fatal.
I think we should... Well, thanks a lot for listening. We're going to go now because this is quite a long one.
Thinking todo eso de lo de what you said about your mom not getting healthcare, which comes around with the whole thing about people going to places like Ibex and getting the health cover.
Yes.
Obviously it's important.
Yes.
Por personas mayores, personas que están malas.
Yeah.
Sí. No te digo que no, it's not that I don't want there to be something, of course I do, pero me da mucho coraje de que nos pisoteen y nos controlen in this day and age.
Te lo doy.
Que esto no es medieval times ya. Tú sabes.
Te lo doy. But we can't be either harping on about how they are, and how they've been, and how we've been treated, and how we've got to kind of clear the slate a little bit.
Sí.
I'm not saying forgive everything.
The problem I have with that is that it has to be twofold.
Yes.
Y ellos no lo hacen.
It has to. Let's see what happens. I have faith, and I'm glad.
Ojalá se pudiera volver a los tiempos
I'm optimistic.
Donde prior to Franco, donde los llanitos y los españoles salían juntos y había apparently the nightlife en plan de tipo de dances y shalaura de esta, no como en plan vamos a la escuela. Iban a España y había unos bailes y había de todo y había todo eso, and it was lovely. Of course I want to do that. Y yo tengo muchas amistades allí y familia y me encanta, pero no quita de que han pasado muchas cosas y después cada vez que pasa algo we are punished at the border.
Yeah.
¿Vale? Pues cuando Miss Jib ganó Miss World, cola a la frontera. UEFA, cola a la frontera. Y llega un punto que tú dices, mira, y yo unfortunately soy la clase de persona que, aunque soy super open y todo, porque I am, y yo quiero estar bien con todo el mundo y a mí no me importa. Pero cuando tú ya me estás tocando lo mío, I will cut off my nose to spite my face.
Te lo doy.
Porque
todo
prefiero
eso.
morirme de asco a que alguien me pueda hacer lording over me. Y eso es lo que a mí me mata. Eso.
Estoy de acuerdo contigo. Y a mí también me mata.
But
I don't see.
But you would rather have something happen so that it was easier.
No, I am not saying this is my thing is that I think we're going to have to give something up. This is all I'm saying. That I think that I have to look at the bigger picture.
What else can we give up?
I don't know. We'll have to give something up. I don't know.
We said we agreed to having a joint airport. ¿Y qué?
That's another thing.
¿Qué pasó?
That's
Nada.
another thing. I bet you.
¿Por qué?
I bet you that will happen.
¿Pero por qué no se hizo?
¿Por qué no se hizo?
¿Por qué no se investing in esta area de España? They don't care.
Now they might.
Really? Why didn't they then?
Anyway, let's
cut them off.
Cut them off. Okay, we're done.
Woo.
Ciao. Thank you.
Bye.